Jambo. Your Excellency President Ruto and Your Excellency President Mwinyi and Deputy Prime Minister and Ministers, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all courtesies observed. And on behalf of all of those of us who've made our way to Mombasa for this conference, I express heartfelt thanks to the government and people of Kenya, but also to the island city of Mombasa, and for all the warm hospitality we received here. Asante sana. After the Sustainable Blue Economy Conference in Nairobi in 2018, and after Kenya's co-hosting of the second UN Ocean Conference in Lisbon in 2022, and now through the successful completion of Our Ocean Conference in Mombasa, we can affirm to all that when the world directs ocean responsibilities Kenya's way, it's putting them into very safe hands. On behalf of all, I wish to acknowledge with deep gratitude the conference organizers, coming from many walks of the Kenyan government and also the World Resources Institute. Your reward lies in the fact that in spite of all the challenges thrown at you, thanks to your hard work, we've completed a world-class ocean conference here. Congratulations to you all. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, here in Mombasa we stand on the shores of a fabled coast, the Swahili coast, along which Arabian dhows long plied their trade, and early Portuguese navigators established maritime links between Europe and Asia. We stand here on the shores of what the world knows as the Indian Ocean, a vast body of water that is in fact an inseparable part of the planet's one ocean. Over 90% of the planet's living space is out there in that ocean, as is the great majority of life. Lift up a bucket of water with just 1 liter of that ocean water, and whether you can see them or not, you have before you 1 million phytoplankton, the very foundation of planetary life. Just one type of that phytoplankton, Prochlorococcus, produces 20% of the oxygen in the biosphere. In short, without that profusion of ocean life, the existence of humankind is null and void. Yet in spite of that existential fact, still we wantonly pollute the ocean with our chemicals and plastics. Still we overfish it and damage it with our industrial fishing fleets and our bottom trawling. Still we steadily warm it with our greenhouse gas emissions, heating it to the extent that sea levels are rising inexorably and coral reefs are dying. You have to ask the question, at this rate, at what point does life in the ocean just give up on us? Honest answer, we don't know yet. In spite of all the bombast and denialism, as if from a dream of blissful ignorance, the world is waking up to our overwhelming reliance on a healthy ocean. And here's where the hope comes in. Here's where we see a prosperous future for our grandchildren and theirs. For we're coming to the realization that if we curtail the maladies we are willfully inflicting upon the ocean, and I agree that's rather a large if, the ocean will sustain us in the fullness of life. If you think of the fact that over 70% of the planet's surface is covered by the ocean, and then consider how prolific marine life has evolved to be, an average pelagic fish lays over 1 million eggs. You can see a future in which most of what we eat and drink will come from the sea. And so our quest must be to turn that large if into a can-do proposition, a global consensus of positive ocean action rooted in good science and nature-positive restoration measures. For all aspects of the current decline in the ocean's health, let us embrace the belief that the harm humankind has done can be undone. And so the call to action is for humankind to put an end to the anthropogenic maladies we've been putting on the ocean's health, which means that the green transition to renewable energy and circular economies, powered by the overwhelming logic of science and now of economics, must proceed at a greatly hastened pace. In the ocean, we're required to transition from hunting to farming. We're required to find the golden mean between conserving and sustainably using the ocean's resources. And I ask you to keep ever in mind that the golden mean is not a chimera. It already exists, for example, in my region through the indigenous knowledge of the Pacific Island communities, who for centuries imposed seasonal bans on fishing in order to allow Mother Nature to have her way. The ocean's golden mean is now being pursued with renewed vigor around the world in pursuit of our agreed global target of 30 by 30, with countries like Chile, Papua New Guinea, Costa Rica, the Azores, and French Polynesia legislating giant marine protected areas within the EEZs. Now, with the ratification of the BBNJ High Seas Treaty, we expect to achieve early establishment of MPAs in international waters, with the proposed marine protected area adjacent to the Antarctica Peninsula being a highly anticipated moment to come. So, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, achieving SDG 14, establishing that golden mean between conservation and sustainable use of the ocean's resources is not something that happens with a wave of Neptune's trident. Neither does it happen as a single breakthrough at one or two conferences. It is an incremental process, determined by forces of good science, of logic, of respect for international law, and multilateral consensus leading to legislation. It flourishes through adoption of good practice and by staying true to our word and giving goodwill towards all. That is not a pipe dream, for we have one planet, and our species has amazing reserves of innovation, apportionment, and of empathy. And these are at our disposal, freely for us to use. Look ahead, for our progress has an adamant lodestar that is guiding us. And that is intergenerational justice. The light of that lodestar guides us. It leads us on, with Father Time being the one to tell the story of our dedication to incremental success in bringing humanity back into balance with nature and the ocean. And so let us set off purposely for Mombasa, on the course we've set for ourselves, to Canada next year for OOC 12, to Korea for the 4th UN Ocean Conference in June 2028, and then to sunny Jamaica in 2029 for OOC 13. Along the way, we replenish our resolve and our resources at gatherings like the Biodiversity Convention's COP17 in Armenia this October, at the Global Coral Reef Summit in Saudi Arabia in November, and later that month at UNFCCC's COP31 in Turkey. We will fortify progress through advancement of ocean science at the UN Decade of Ocean Science in Rio de Janeiro next April, and we'll enter a new era of legal ocean governance when we assemble in New York in January for COP1 of the BBNJ High Seas Treaty. It's indeed a course set with bountiful opportunities for tangible collaboration and headway. But the tide waits for no one, so all aboard for the voyage ahead. May we stay true to our course, and along the way may we have fair winds and following seas. And then Salama.